Ethiopia's Grand Renaissance Dam Project, Unraveling Geopolitical Consequences. Let's find out significance of Nile River first before we delve into GERD project. The Nile River, lifeline and geopolitical nexus for Ethiopia, Egypt, and adjacent nations. The Nile River, one of the world's most iconic waterways, has played a central role in shaping the destinies of nations across its course. This documentary delves into the profound significance of the Nile for Ethiopia, Egypt, and their neighboring countries, unraveling its role as a lifeline, geopolitical catalyst, and source of both cooperation and tension. Chapter 1: Ethiopia's Blue Nile Connection. For Ethiopia, the Blue Nile is not just a river. It's the cradle of civilization and a source of cultural said for agriculture and sustenance. The Ethiopian Highlands give birth to the Blue Nile, and this chapter explores the river's spiritual, cultural, and historical importance to the nation. Chapter 2: Egypt's Nile Dependency. As the Nile flows northward, it reaches Egypt, where it has sustained a civilization for thousands of years. The Nile Delta's fertile soils and dependable water supply have enabled Egypt's agricultural productivity and population growth. This chapter delves into how Egypt's existence and prosperity have become intrinsically tied to the Nile's waters, shaping its culture, economy, and identity. Chapter 3: The Watershed of Cooperation and Conflict. The Nile's waters are shared by 11 countries, each with distinct interests and needs. This chapter delves into the intricate dynamics of water sharing, cooperation, and conflict that have emerged among these countries. While cooperation initiatives like the Nile Basin Initiative seek equitable water management, disagreements over dam construction and water allocation have also created tensions. Chapter 4: Egypt's Security Concerns. For Egypt, the Nile isn't merely a source of sustenance, it's a matter of national security. The country's dependence on the Nile's waters has led to a heightened sensitivity towards any perceived threats to its water supply. The construction of dams upstream, like the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, has sparked concerns about water scarcity and security. This chapter examines how these concerns have shaped Egypt's policies and geopolitical stance. Chapter 5: Hydropolitics and Diplomacy. The Nile's waters have fueled hydropolitical negotiations and diplomatic efforts. From colonial-era agreements to contemporary dialogues, the management of the Nile's resources has been a focal point for regional diplomacy. This chapter explores the role of international organizations, treaties, and negotiations in shaping the cooperative and competitive dimensions of the Nile water management. Chapter 6: Environmental Challenges and Sustainability. The Nile faces environmental challenges including pollution, ecosystem degradation, and climate change. These issues impact the river's health and its ability to sustain livelihoods. This chapter underscores the importance of environmental sustainability for the riparian countries and discusses the potential for collaborative solutions to address these challenges. In conclusion, the Nile River weaves a tapestry of history, culture, geopolitics, and cooperation across Ethiopia, Egypt, and neighboring nations. Its waters have nurtured civilizations, driven economies, and prompted diplomacy that navigates the delicate balance between shared resources and individual needs. As this documentary has demonstrated, the Nile's significance extends beyond its physical waters, serving as a reminder that the world's great rivers are not mere geographical features, but intricate geopolitical landscapes that shape the fate of nations. Introduction about GERD. In the heart of Africa, a monumental engineering marvel is taking shape. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD. As the largest hydroelectric dam in Africa, its construction and operation hold profound geopolitical implications that ripple far beyond its borders. This documentary delves into the multifaceted dimensions of the GERD project and the geopolitical consequences it entails. The genesis of GERD. To understand the geopolitical ramifications of the GERD project, it's essential to trace its origins. The Ethiopian government's aspiration to harness the power of the Blue Nile River ignited the idea of GERD. Driven by a vision of energy self-sufficiency and economic growth, Ethiopia embarked on this ambitious endeavor, aiming to address the country's energy deficit. The Nile's watershed diplomacy. The Nile River's significance stretches across multiple nations, with its waters nourishing 11 countries in Africa. However, the Blue Nile is the primary source of the Nile's water originating from Ethiopia. The construction of GERD has prompted concerns among downstream countries like Egypt and Sudan, who heavily rely on the Nile's waters. This chapter unravels the intricate diplomacy and negotiations surrounding the distribution of Nile waters and the GERD's impact on these negotiations. The Balancing Act: Environment versus Energy. GERD's reservoir will significantly alter the Blue Nile's flow, impacting ecosystems and riverine communities. While Ethiopia's quest for energy security is laudable, the environmental consequences of damming a transboundary river can't be ignored. This chapter discusses the delicate balance between economic development and environmental preservation, and how it shapes the geopolitical discourse. The hydrohegemony debate. As the GERD nears completion, a power shift in the region's hydropolitics is becoming apparent. The age-old hydrohegemony paradigm, where downstream countries exert control over water resources, is facing a challenge. Ethiopia's determination to assert its sovereign rights over the Blue Nile marks a departure from this traditional dynamic. This chapter dives into the implications of this paradigm shift on regional power dynamics. Regional allies and foes. The GERD project has garnered regional support and skepticism. Countries like South Sudan, Kenya, and Uganda view the dam as a potential model for development in the region. Conversely, Egypt and Sudan are wary of its consequences on water availability and the stability of their nations. This chapter examines the alliances and rivalries forged due to differing perceptions of the dam's impacts. Geopolitical jockeying, mediation and resolution. Efforts to mediate and resolve the GERD dispute have been ongoing, with international actors like the United States, the European Union, and the African Union stepping in as mediators. The intricacies of these diplomatic endeavors and the role of external actors in shaping the geopolitical landscape are explored in this chapter. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam project transcends engineering feats. It is a testament to the complex interplay of geopolitics, development, and environmental stewardship. As this documentary illustrates, the geopolitical consequences of the GERD are far-reaching, influencing regional dynamics, alliances, and the delicate balance between upstream aspirations and downstream concerns. The resolution of this intricate puzzle lies not only in the technicalities of water management, but in the ability of nations to navigate the currents of diplomacy and collaboration in an increasingly interconnected world. At Wealth and Elegance TV channel, we bring you the best of both worlds, the latest insights into the world of business and the epitome of luxury living. Explore the realm of entrepreneurship, discover innovative business ideas, and learn from successful leaders.